I'm no hero, just a yordle with a hammer.
Destiny, domination, deceit.
All right, hello and welcome to the Titan Esports Conqueror League. We're glad to be here. I'm Elsa the Queen here with Hawk, and today we're going to be casting bye week over on the blue side, taking on Cosa Gaming Rampage on the red side. What can you tell us a little bit about these two teams, Hawk?
Oh man, well, what can I tell you about these two teams? I mean, I think it just needs to be said that Cosa Gaming Rampage came into the league 2 weeks ago. They replaced one of the teams that ended up forfeiting from the league. Cosa Gaming came in. They've played 2 weeks so far, currently sitting at 0-2. And then meanwhile, bye week sitting at 1-3. They've actually been here the whole time, finding their only win on a forfeit, which means that both these teams, in a way, are looking for their first actual win of the season. So definitely a very exciting matchup between these two teams that are certainly going to be hungry to prove themselves here in the Titan Esports Conqueror League. And also, can I just say that I am very excited to be back here with you. You know, I wasn't here last week, but 2 weeks ago, you were filling in once again, and it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah, I'm excited, and always good to see some teams that are hungry to make something happen. Definitely these teams that have a little bit less in terms of their wins usually are a lot more willing to try out some of these more interesting strategies. So I'm looking forward to seeing that today, and I'm happy to be back here in the Conqueror League. So I think we'll probably jump into draft here in a little bit, but yeah, excited to be here.
Absolutely. And, you know, speaking of those interesting strategies, bye week did end up having to e-sub their jungler, which must be said as well. With a Kappa not going to be playing this week and Violet Rain e-subbing in at the last minute, which does mean that bye week lost their 3 first rotation bans, I believe, for this game only. I can't get confirmation on that, but that is why we're going to see Earth be banned out for the first 3. But what sort of champions are you looking at to be prioritized this time around by these teams? You know, Nico, interestingly, banned out. I have to imagine that's some sort of target ban, but I feel like, you know, these two teams haven't played on stream yet. Definitely going to have some tricks up their sleeve.
Well, yeah, and not knowing too much about it, looking at the meta right now, definitely looking for maybe some junglers to be prioritized. We know the Jin Zhao, the Diana, those are so strong in this meta alongside the Lee Sin, so I'd be curious to see which of those champions that these teams want to pick up. Other than that, I'm not really sure, just because we don't have as much information, but we'll get into the picks in just a moment. We see that Yorick was also banned out from Cosa Gaming Rampage, waiting on the last ban. But so far for Mihawk, these look like they must be some target bans coming out from Cosa Gaming, because Nico and Yorick, Caitlyn being banned out. I know that Dark Harvest Caitlyn build has been really strong. That's been kind of tearing up at least my solo queue games with that lethality. So Cosa Gaming wanted to get that one off the table.
Ooh.
Will be the Jarvan going to be picked up from bye week. So interesting, because it's not the Diana, not the Jin Zhao Lee Sin I kind of talked about as the strongest players, but instead it is Jarvan, who did get some buffs in a recent patch, so we're seeing him more. And then Cosa looks like they're doing the Jarvan in response, but we also got confirmation that this is actually the Braum locked in. So getting some strong bot lane champions. They're going to pair it up with the Ashe.
Yeah, I really like that Ashe pick. Braum Ashe, for these that don't know, is an extremely strong bot lane 2v2. The stacking slows with the stuns. Ashe Era for initiation, Braum to cover her back. Extremely powerful 2v2, and both very prominent in the meta right now. Ashe in particular provides so much initiation potential with that Enchanted Crystal Arrow, so definitely going to have my eyes on Chaser to make the big plays with that one. But Ezreal Morgana in response, not what I personally would have gone for. I feel like Ezreal Morgana, a little bit of a redundant 2v2. Morgana, very defensive, pick-oriented champion. Ezreal, very defensive, pick-oriented champion, which sounds like it would be good synergy, right? And it sort of is, but they almost are too safe when put together, which of course does mean that I wouldn't expect them to be 2v2 killed, but I feel like it takes away a lot of agency from your bot lane, which is definitely something that matters a lot in League of Legends, is who has the ability to make plays around their bot. And I feel like something along the lines of this Ashe does provide more individual agency than something like the Ezreal. But as the teams are flying through the draft, the Jarvan first pick, I would have liked to see, as you said, something like the Lee Sin or the Xin Zhao, especially because they were left up through ban phase. But it does sort of follow that same formula of, if you can get ahead in the early game, very strong early game jungler, skirmish oriented, and especially against something like this Kindred, you can abuse it pre-level 6. Of course, after level 6, the Kindred will have agency in this matchup. But I think I like the concept behind it, even though I would have liked to see something maybe a little bit more meta. But as we move into the second round of picks and bans, we do have a lot of solo lane focus coming through as Corki, not Camille, is locked in.
Yeah, and we do see a lot of bans coming out from especially the top lane, with Set, Wukong, Camille banned alongside the Malzahar, and Syndra locked in for bye week. Now, you did have some criticism of this Ezreal Morgana bot lane, and I largely agree with you, but I would like to say, especially now that we have this Syndra locked in, the Jarvan with that Cataclysm does have a lot of ability to kind of force the enemy team into that small area, with Poppy finishing it out. And so for bye week, they will have an ability to kind of funnel their skill shots into those areas. And with Poppy finishing it out, we don't see a lot of this champion anymore. Probably interacts pretty well with the Sun and the Jarvan Cataclysm, but outside of that, not really sure. And Mordekaiser will finish it out for Cosa Gaming Rampage.
Yeah, I really do like that point where bye week does have a lot of long range follow up to the initiation. Ezreal Morgana Syndra can hit you from a screen away, and I do think that's going to put a lot of burden of the execution on Aquatic Bear to find impactful Kindred ults if the Spirit's Refuge does go down effectively, or excuse me, the Lamb's Respite, not the Spirit's Refuge. It will be definitely a very game-changing ability. And with the triple ADC backline, it means that if you're able to keep them alive after the initial engage, the follow-up DPS from these carries will simply be higher than anything bye week can put out. But as I did talk about that Poppy pick as well, really not a fan of Poppy blind, and it gets punished pretty heavily by the Mordekaiser as well. So let's see if Last of the Coterie can do a number an armor up there in the top side and get an advantage for his team, because you need to have winning lanes on this Kindred to be able to make plays. Otherwise, Jarvan is going to invade you and kill you. And speaking of win conditions, that's what I want to see out of Violet Rain. I want to see him play aggressively into Aquatic Bear's jungle early with this pushing Syndra matchup that you should have in the mid lane, and hard winning mid jungle 2v2 to try to find an early game advantage. Get your Jarvan ahead so that Kindred can't be the carry she wants to be later.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely looking for Aquatic Bear to go down into this bot lane with that CC coming from the Ashen Braum. So we'll see where he does decide to focus in early.
Yeah, definitely agree. And as we are now loading onto the Rift, it is on the blue side by week up against Cosa Gaming Rampage on the red side here in Titan Esports Conqueror League. And Elsa, I'm excited for another good old-fashioned best of 3 here in Titan Esports.
Yeah, definitely hoping both of these teams going to be battling out, looking for that first non-FF win, and just kind of trying to prove that, hey, they're not at the bottom of the table. They can show up here, as we do see a pretty standard start. Both teams kind of fanning across the river, blocking all those entrances. So nothing fancy coming out. Neither team looking for any invade or anything like that, and we will see Aquatic Bear. He's going to do that kind of that typical mark of the enemy jungler early on. And we talked about the Kindred, how this is kind of a snowballing champion. Definitely going to be looking for some of these early ganks or maybe an early invade onto Violet Rain to get some of those marks going early.
Yeah, if Aquatic Bear is able to pull off an invade, I definitely think it's going to be around the Mordekaiser on the top side. If you're able to find potentially an early dive, especially post 6, if you're able to dodge out on the Keeper's Verdict. I think all eyes need to be on the junglers for this game. I think it's going to be very telling on which way this game is able to go. And also part of that is Amazed on the Syndra. If he can get the pressure that I believe he should have on this Syndra in the 1v1 against this more scaling-oriented pick like the Corki and start to create plays around this mid-jungle, Syndra Jarvan is extremely scary. If the Norseman loses Flash early or Aquatic Bear at that, they are very much at risk of getting dove and killed off. But we will see both junglers start on the top side. So it is a mirrored jungle start. Aquatic Bear unsurprisingly taking away that red buff, where Violet Rain, I'm a little bit surprised actually to see him take his blue buff first, but this is signaling to me that he's going to want to play around the bottom side of the map, fight for early dragons.
Yeah, and certainly we talked about it already, but both of these bot lanes do have a lot of CC to bring to the table. And we'll just have to see if which bot lane has the push. Now, you did already mention that we do anticipate that Ezreal and Morgana should have that push early, which means it might be Aquatic Bear who will be looking for the more aggressive gank. But then, as always, obviously, might open up for Violet Rain to have some kind of counter gank going on. As these junglers, they are pretty much matching in terms of their clear speed, as the binding will go wide from Morgana. And they're making their way down towards that bot side. But now we might see an early gank from Violet Rain onto the mid lane.
Violet Rain looking towards mid. Norseman just going to walk it out. Not really any threat, but I'm actually really not a fan of this jungle pathing here from Violet Rain. If you're going to go for the 3 camp clear into mid gank, why not just do it from the bottom side? I get that you want to play around your bot lane, but I feel like full clearing on this Jarvan right now is not exactly what you wanted to do. I talked about wanting to find early plays here on this Jarvan. I feel like this is playing right into the Kindred's hands, and you know, although your bot lane is extremely safe, not really going to get picked off, you know, if you could look for an early gank, as a nice binding does land.
We're going to see the Ignite is going to be dropped on a Chaser. Flash forward from Zerobi, and he's going to pick up the first blood on this Ezreal. So no need for a gank from the bot lane of bye week. They're just going to take the kill for themselves.
Unlucky there for Chaser. He thought he was behind the minions. Violet Rain going in, going to get concussive blows.
Oh, and he's going to use that flag and drag really quickly. He's going to get stunned up by the concussive blows. Pinky is here on the Morgana. Violet Rain going to go, whoa, Biden going to miss.
On the backside.
There he does proc that Conqueror, but not quite able to take it down. Red buff isn't enough, but instead it's Zerobi who's going to go down. Now Pinky is going to have the concussive blows on him as well. Does have the shield available, but he's going to go so low, and Aquatic Bear picks up a kill for himself.
See, and this is exactly why full clearing on the Jarvan is so suspect to me, because then he goes down to his red buff. You've already showed on the map. Walk into the river. Your bot lane has already hard committed under the turret. Everybody's half HP. You give up the Scuttle Crab, you give up the Mark, you give up 2 kills, and Violet Rain and the rest of bye week falling very far behind in this early game, despite the first blood going down on the bottom side. Just so much pressure lost, and I feel like the substitute jungler for bye week definitely feeling the effects of coming in on stream. Let's see if he's able to bounce this one back. The gold lead is not significant yet, only about 500 to 600. Definitely not insurmountable by any means, but not exactly the place that you wanted to be on this J4.
Yeah, absolutely. And just where they want the kills to go. for Cosa Gaming. Rampage getting one on that Corky early, as well as onto that Kindred. And you already mentioned it, but with Kindred getting that early advantage, able to run up onto that top side, get the double scuttle, and it was really on Violet Rain from the beginning on this Jarvan to kind of take a lead early on through the ganking, whereas Aquatic Bear probably would have been fine to just farm it out to begin with on this more scaling Kindred pick. So now I'm looking at Violet Rain to kind of maybe hard farm to that 6 and then try to make something else happen, but as of now, he is going to be almost a full level behind the Kindred.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but you give up the fight around the Mark II by trying to go in aggressively on the Kindred in her jungle and getting chunked out. You know, you're not waiting for your Syndra to rotate. Amaze, he should have had first move, but really hesitated on the rotation over. So definitely, I feel like a blunder on the map from Bye-Week, but they're certainly not out of this one. I'm liking the hover towards the bottom side here from Violet Rain. He's not, I believe, going to be spotted out by the Hawkshot, and with the shove of his bottom side and the resets from the mid laners, I believe Dragon is ripe for the pickings right here. As you know that Aquatic Bear, he wants to be towards the top side, playing towards his winning Mordekaiser, already starting to open up a bit of a CS advantage there on the top side, and the Mark being there as well will get spotted out, but should be able to take this one away for free.
Yeah, and so despite the fact that he spotted out, Aquatic Bear does know that because of this, because of him taking out the ward right there, and is able to smite away that Gromp. Our Mork's probably trying to make something happen, but not able to. And I think even at this point, as the Kindred, you're probably pretty happy to trade that Mark for the Dragon. I mean, you know, especially
first Dragon Mountain.
Yeah, not a big deal.
It's not a big deal at all. These resistances mean nothing in the early game, and I mean, this Kindred is the biggest winner from all these early plays. You get 2 early marks, you get yourself an early kill, and yes, Violet Rain, it's a good response. You want to play around your pressure and the early game advantages to find advantages for your team. You're not trying to play selfishly on the Jarvan this game. You're looking to create pressure around the map. So he does leverage that into a Dragon. That is a good play, but the Kindred is more than willing to handshake into that, and I feel like it's just all going back to that level 3 fight in the river, and Aquatic Bear definitely feeling great about his position in the game. The respawn of his red buff has come through as well. He's going to group up around the bottom side first, maybe trying to protect against any potential dives as the wave is crashing, but not really too much to get, as I think this is actually a bit of a forced gank.
Yeah, here's Aquatic Bear coming in. We do see Violet Rain. He's also nearby as well, but Pinky, he's so squishy on this Morgana. He's going to go down. Aquatic Bear still going forward. Looks a little aggressive, but he does have that Lamb's Respite available. And Zerobi, he's going to get stunned up by the concussive blows, but will be able to stay alive. And Aquatic Bear just able to make another gank happen here. So the Kindred continuing to scale. And I mean, if we are going to think about, you know, what can you do here if you're bye week, getting a little bit behind, they will still have that ability once the Jarvan gets the Cataclysm available to maybe look for a play. But, you know, as I was mentioning, Violet Rain, you know, not really in the right spot now, needs to recall and get to that other side of the map before he's able to pick up more camps and just really put behind the Kindred at this point.
Yeah, and I mean, not having your level 6 coming in by 8 minutes, definitely not where you want to be as well. You always want to get your level 6 before 8 minutes if you're a jungler. Preferably right around 7 is the benchmark. Of course, it does depend on how fast your clear speed is, but I mean, look at how far ahead this Kindred is, and it's just getting bigger and bigger. And not only that, but in that winning mid matchup that I said that Bye-Week should have, not really coming through. The Norseman actually staying marginally ahead of the Syndra in the lane. He's got the Noon Quiver and the Vamp Scepter with the tier stacking up to boot, feeling very good about his position in this game, and this triple ADC composition just looking so good. And although Chaser definitely not having a good time on the bottom side, he's an Ashe. He just has to be able to Ashe Arrow, and the Braum already making the rotation up.
Oh, here's Jack Gaming able to jump forward and grab that stun, as we will see Aquatic Bear being knocked out by the Poppy, but still Jarvan just getting pushed out of his own jungle. Look at that, still not able to hit this level 6. You talked about wanting to get it by 8 minutes. It's gonna be 9 minutes still with no Jarvan 6 available, and with the Rift Herald going down as well, we'll see where Aquatic Bear wants to drop that one down.
Yeah, and you basically could drop it anywhere. Maybe not bottom unless you're able to find another gank, but with the flashes being back up, I think that is unlikely, as it basically was walking down that flash with Morgana overextended there on the bottom side. That netted the kill, but with the gold lead being at about 1500, give or take, at just 9 minutes, and the Herald going to extend that by a further 500 or so. You definitely like your position here if you're a Cosa Gaming fan or player, as Pinky just going to make an appearance in the mid lane. The first gank on mid there, coming through for bye week at 9.5 minutes, and it amounts to nothing as Violet Rain is still level 5. He should, I believe, be getting it, yes, off of this red buff. So at 10 minutes, the substitute jungler for bye week will be getting that Cataclysm to come online. And maybe, just maybe, with Aquatic Bear not having that flash available, you could try to look for some sort of skirmish if you're able to find the first move on this play. But so far, I feel like bye week has been extremely reactive to the plays that have come through. But with a composition like this, with the jungler that wants to try to snowball the game and fight around early plays, that has not come through yet.
Yeah, and look at this too. Aquatic Bear was able to just invade through the top side of this Jarvan's jungle, taking away the Gromp, also just leaving that one lonely wolf
on
over
top
there.
side.
So there you do see the fight over here onto the top side. We are going to see the Death Realm coming through from Last of the Coterie, handily able to take down the Poppy. And we haven't touched on these top laners too much yet, Hawk, but you already mentioned how you did not like the Poppy blind, how it would get punished by the Mordekaiser, and there you see it.
Yeah, I mean, Poppy just, it's too much of a situational pick. The block on the, the Steadfast Presidents, it gets value against the Corki, it gets value against this Kindred, but it's not like these champions are ultimately that dash reliant, and they outrange the Poppy by so much anyway. And Poppy is so counterpickable by something of the likes of this Mord. And Last of the Coterie just has built himself up an enormous lead here on the top side, and we basically just saw him walk up and ult the Poppy and take him down. So Armork falling further and further behind. Every lane definitely not going the way of bye week, as Violet Rain going to get chunked out, but with no CC between that duo. Should mean that the mid jungle 2v2 can come through, but we see a bot side play.
Flash forward from Pinky, gonna be able to land the ultimate and the binding onto Chaser. Zerobi able to take him out with that Mystic shot. Now we're gonna see the teleport though coming through from Last of the Coterie. He wants to grab a kill for himself. True Shot Barrage is going to go wide. Pinky, he's caught out in the wrong side. He's gonna go down. But now here is the Braum ultimate gonna land onto Zerobi. Violet Rain, he is doing his flag and drag, not where he wants to be. A double kill coming through from the Corki. Although we do see Aquatic Bear finally getting knocked down by a Mork. And now here is Cosa Gaming Rampage going forward, picking up one more kill onto that Poppy. And overall, even though they're able to trade back one, that's a huge fight from Cosa Gaming Rampage, extending their gold lead to about 3K.
Absolutely, and not only that, they're going to be able to take away this Cloud Dragon, which is denying any sort of win condition that bye week may have had, managing to deny any sort of soul stacking, making it a 1-to-1 dragon score. It's a messy fight on the bottom side. I loved that aggression coming up from Zerobi and Pinky to just take down Chaser and try to draw pressure around this dragon so you can start to play through your bottom lane. But unfortunately, the double TP is there. It is decisive from Cosa Gaming, and the Norsemen and Last of the Coterie, they get in there, they take down the support, and although Zerobi did a great job buying time, Aquatic Bear went in, had the Lamb's Respite, and got taken down. It just didn't matter. Violet Rain is too far behind on this Jarvan. Amaze is too far behind on the Syndra to make anything happen, and the TPs were too late to have enough of an impact as bye week falls even further behind in this one.
And looks like Aquatic Bear pretty much forced to drop this Rift Herald on the top side. Might be looking for a dive onto a Mork on this Poppy, but Violet Rain, he is in the right place at the right time. But however, Aquatic Bear does know that he's there. He's just able to chase this Jarvan out of his own jungle. Flashing forward, he really wants this one, and he's going to be able to pick it up as the Rift Herald grabs a couple plates onto the top lane turret.
And that's going to be 4 marks for the Kindred. That's the range increase. That's the one that every Kindred player aspires to get. And 13.5 minutes ain't too shabby, as Chaser going to be taken low on the bottom side. But I don't believe any kills. This is nice binding does land. Jack, he's just going to go down.
Yeah, Jack Gaming, definitely a little over-aggressive there. So if there was a bright spot for this bye-week team, it would certainly be in their bot lane. Ezreal, he has picked up 3 kills for himself, does have that Divine Thunderer already dead, but a Mark, yeah, he's in a bad spot.
Oh, good soul charge.
He's going to grab a nice stun, but ultimately Aquatic Bear is going to take it down, and this Kindred just kind of becoming a hyper carry at this point, does have that Gale Force now completed. So it's kind of Zerobi and Pinky against the world at this point.
I mean, 4 kills on this Corki, 4 kills on this Kindred. That's basically the doomsday scenario that I highlighted in draft. I said this should be your early game strength as bye week, and if you can put them far enough behind, you can win the game before the triple AD carry composition comes online. And although Chaser is extremely far behind, and as you highlighted, Elsa, Zerobi and Pinky are having a phenomenal game there on the Ezreal Morgana. I criticized the 2v2, but it seems to be working out pretty well for them with the comfort coming through and the Ashe being immobile, not really able to dodge out on many of these bindings, has gotten punished pretty damn hard. It's just this Corki and this Kindred can already carry the game. They've each got one item. Tier 2 boots also completed on this Corki. The tier almost going to be fully stacked. You can already start working towards that Mura mana. Herald should be taken uncontested right here, as look at Jack Gaming just zoning so far into the enemy jungle, getting those deep boards. They'll see bye week coming from so far away, and although they're posturing for a contest, I don't think there's any hope out of play. The ADC is on the bottom side for the side of Cosa, but you're just too far behind in your playmaking roles to, I think, find any sort of fight. And I feel like around the Dragon at 2 minutes, maybe if you can get Mythics online for your mid laner and your jungler in the next 2 minutes, you might be able to make a stand, but it will be difficult.
And now we're going to see the Cataclysm gets dropped onto the last of the Coterie, but he takes Violet Rain into the Death Realm. Doesn't look like Violet Rain is going to have any chance of getting out of this one. As Aquatic Bear does pick up the kill, so another one for the Kindred, and that's maybe just a little of frustration, a little bit of over-aggression from Violet Rain. Hasn't been able to get anything done as Pinky, he might be caught out now. Nice stun, actually, for an arrow. Check out 2, and now Norseman is going to go unstoppable with that kill on the Syndra. Aquatic Bear able to keep himself alive for now on the Lamb's Respite, but it is going to be the Mordekaiser going down. Aquatic Bear, he's heading back, staying alive. Zerobi now in the front line. Chaser able to slow him down. Will the concussive blows land? No, and we got the Morgana Black Shield there as well. Bramalt is going to whiff from Jack Gaming, and in the end of it all, Zerobi is able to survive. But yet again, I believe that was a 2-4-1 coming out in the favor of Cosa Gaming Rampage, and time after time, the kills go to this Corki and Kindred, so all the gold in all the right places for Cosa Gaming.
Yeah, I don't know if the initial play, the call there from bye week was if they thought the entirety of Cosa Gaming recall, but if you're ulting in as the Jarvan on that Mordekaiser, I mean, that's a one-way trip. That's 7 seconds that you have to survive, and you've already used the flag and drag. Loss of the Coterie just kills him in the Death Realm and then buys enough time for his team to arrive, and although he goes down in the end, they manage also a phenomenal Ashe Arrow from Chaser, finds Demaze on the backside, the dive onto him, take him down. Aquatic Bear likewise staying alive, kiting out our Mork on this Poppy and finding a third kill in the fight. This game is looking all but over as initial Dragon setup will favor bye week around this one, but they're just watching the minions die to the turret, falling even further behind in gold. It's about a 3,500 deficit. Corki has the package, and although Cosa Gaming Rampage will be late to the fight, you have 11 kills between your mid-jungle 2v2 and a Herald being summoned mid.
Yeah, and Cosa Gaming Rampage, they just say, go ahead, you can take that second dragon. We'd rather take this mid turret with the Rift Herald being dropped, and they still are going to rotate into this fight. As you mentioned, package is available, so it will be picked up by bye week, but will they look to fight? Pinky, he's in the front line. He's going to grab the stun onto 2, but he's just so far away from the rest of his team. Will go down. Aquatic Bear grabbing the kill. Amor going to look like he's going to drop next as Violet Rain already was taken down. Zerobi is able to trade one back onto the Norseman. That will be a critically big shutdown, but with the Rift Heralds, I believe it got 2 charges there. Yeah, it was able to charge onto that mid lane inner turret as well, and Chaser, he's here with Aquatic Bear. They're going to be able to finish this one off.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, once again, everything going the way of Cosa. I mean, they don't get the dragon, but it doesn't even matter. It's an Ocean Dragon for bye week 2nd of the game, 3rd overall across both teams. I mean, there is no threat of soul at all. You're able to take down 2 turrets in the mid lane to unlock the map just so immensely. You get a lot of damage on this bot turret, and the kills were there as well. It was Pinky trying to make the play onto the 3-man unit coming from the mid side of the fight there. But he's going in alone as under this turret, speaking of which, not going to go down, but the Soul Laner's last to the Coterie just walks in the backside and manages to take out the back line, and the fight was there for the side of Coast Gaming Rampage.
Yeah, and just right from the draft, it definitely looks like this team from bye week just not exactly on the same page. I mean, we saw Pinky there kind of in that front line getting those stuns off, but for what? I mean, he just went down and just...
I mean, it was a good engage, but the Mordekaiser is walking through your 4-man unit backline and he's alone. Like, just turn onto him after the Death Realm. Fight front to back.
Yeah, yep. And just doesn't look like Cosa Gaming, or rather, doesn't look like bye week is necessarily on the same page. Here's Pinky. He wants to make another play again.
No.
He is going to go wide. Will drop his ultimate, but Lasso the Coterie is going to kill him before the stun even lands. And now a Mork. He's going to be looking like he's in danger as well. Lasso the Coterie, can he just drive him under this turret? Will elect to back off. But looking pretty bad as we are going to see a nice arrow landing from Chaser, able to take down Amazed. Aquatic Bear now able to grab the Jarvan kill. Jarvan kind of trapping himself in that Cataclysm as Aquatic Bear, he's not afraid of anything, and they're going to start knocking onto this inhibitor turret.
Yeah, I mean, Cosa Gaming Rampage just so far ahead in this one. That's a big Mordekaiser. Bush baiting on the bottom side. Pinky had no idea he was there. Aquatic Bear, good step presence.
Yep, good steadfast presence to keep that Poppy alive, but with how the way that Aquatic Bear is playing in this matchup just goes to show how far ahead he really is. I mean, he's just going forward into 2-3 members with absolute impunity. He's got so much ability to get health back as well and slow them down, having finished that Storm Razor. So just so dangerous. And here he is on the bot side again.
Whoa.
Pinky, he flashes out, but it's just not enough as the auto attack was already going through from Aquatic Bear. And whenever this Cosa Gaming Rampage team does decide to do Baron, that thing is going to drop very quickly.
Yeah, oh my gosh, with triple ADCs and a Mordekaiser, I mean, that thing's just going to be gone. And this is definitely the kind of game where Aquatic Bear basically just picked up he was the benefactor of all the mistakes coming through from bye week, and this is the kind of game that you look at if you're Cosa Gaming Rampage, and you love to see the confidence playing from ahead. I mean, no fear on this Kindred, dashing forward to multiple members. He knows that he's got 2.5 items. He knows that he is big on this Kindred, and he's not afraid to make the plays because he got himself to this point by a good early game showing. And Cosa Gaming Rampage, they have been in the driver's seat from minute number 1 with that fight in the bottom side at level 3. It was just a clean execution coming through from them. They got the gold, they got the kills, and they have not relinquished the pace of this game. Dragon spawning in 50 seconds. It will only be their second of the game, so Soul, not really a thought at all, as Zerobi, he knows they're not going to fight for this, just trying to get some damage, anything that he can for his team here on the top side.
Oh, and last of the Coterie,
no.
He was able to use his ultimate there. Zerobi uses that True Shot Barrage. Not sure if that was a misclick or not, but last of the Coterie easily able to pick up the kill, and we've been spending a lot of time on talking about Aquatic Bear, talking about Norsemen on these marksmen who are so far ahead, as Pinky, he's just caught out. But I did want to mention that last of the Coterie, I mean, look at this CS. He is 73 CS ahead of this Poppy, and it's one thing to get a good counter matchup. It's another thing to really capitalize on it, and we've seen Coterie do that to perfection in this game.
And I feel like especially in some of these amateur leagues, you know, we'll see counter picks come through, but they more just try to play to neutralize the lane. But like I said, confidence playing from ahead. Last of the Coterie, he knows that he got his counter matchup. He knew how to play this counter matchup, and he just absolutely leverage his advantage. I mean, quite frankly, it has been a gap on the top side of this game coming through, and I feel like it goes back to that top Poppy blind pick, and it goes, you know, that's all credit to Last of the Coterie for making those plays happen. The Dragon does fall. The mark is on the Baron, and you know what? I think this Kindred is in need of a 9th mark if this Baron goes down. Everybody is alive. They do have the potential to get a 5-man Cataclysm in the pit. Syndrome follow-up could be big, but Pinky on the backside, Ashero coming through.
Yep, Ashero is going to land on the Violet Rain, who does jump in with that big Cataclysm, is going to trap about 3 of them in there, but he's going to go down so fast. Last of the Coterie going to grab the kill cut. Meanwhile, in the backline, Amazed, he's going to get taken out. Double kill for the Mordekaiser as a Mork comes, or goes down as well. And Cosa Gaming Rampage, it looked like their plan the entire time was to turn off this Baron. They knew that they could win the fight, as the Lamb's Respite is going to be dropped in order to save Aquatic Bear. He will be able to stay alive. Pinky going down, and that is going to be a full ace from the side of Cosa Gaming Rampage and a Baron to boot.
And that was just Cosa Gaming Rampage slapping them with their wallets right there. The engage was decent with Violet Rain finding a 3-man Cataclysm into a big True Shot Barrage from Zerobi. But Pinky, he was a man on a mission to get Vision on the backside of the pit there. Not a part of that fight at all. Goes down at the end of it anyway after attempting to steal the Baron as a support. Not recommended for your solo queue games. And it's all Cosa Gaming here in game number 1. 13,000 is the gold lead. That is more than 500 gold a minute, which is generally the benchmark for a one-sided affair, and a strong showing for a team looking to pick up their first win here, Titan Esports.
Yeah, and now with these kind of power spikes being hit from the side of Cosa Gaming Rampage, we see 3.5 items for the Kindred, 3 items for the Mordekaiser, 3 items for the Corki, and it doesn't look like Bioweek should be able to do anything to stop this siege, especially with this triple AD carry. The siege coming through is so strong. Corki able to knock out those missiles to get a lot of poke down using those missile barrages, and he's going to go forward onto Pinky. I mean, look at that damage from the Norseman.
Yeah, Pinky just way caught out there. Yeah, walked towards mid where the entire side of Cosa Gaming got taken down, and whoa! That's a big Q. Oh!
He doesn't even care about the turret. Is going to take one down. Doesn't mind that Immort's there. Norseman on the back line, just raining hell onto Bioweek, as now flashing forward. Zerobi going to be going down. He's the last one. That's an ace. And I can't help but think, Hawk, that this is probably the game for Cosa Gaming Rampage.
Oh, yeah, that's going to be the game just 25 minutes in. And, you know, not that it really mattered, but I feel like it feels bad for Zerobi trying to get another big True Shot Barrage, and it was just fully blocked there on the front side by Jack. I mean, not even allowed to play the game is this drill, and he was probably the strongest member on his team with 4 of his team's 6 kills. Pinky gonna Black Shield the arrow. It doesn't matter because the Nexus is gone, the base is gone, the game is gone. It is Cosa Gaming Rampage here in game number 1, taking a one-sided victory.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, full respect to Bioweek, but I gotta say, Hawk, that was a little ugly.
Yeah, I would agree. I think ugly is the word we can use for that one. Just a tough game all around. It seemed like from that level 3 play, they didn't exactly know what they wanted to do as a team. Seemed like a bit of a 5 individuals moving around the rift. Lots of disjointed engages, lots of disjointed calls, and Cosa Gaming, to give a lot of credit to them, they capitalized extremely well on these mistakes, and once they got their lead, they played with confidence. They didn't wait for Bioweek to continue making mistakes. They forced the mistakes upon Bioweek and threatened to take more advantages, and then did. They followed it up, and it was a very clean game from them.
Yeah, and I feel like if you are Bioweek going into this next game, going into this next draft, it's probably pretty much back to the drawing board, right? They drafted this Jarvan first pick, really didn't get any value out of it, pretty much counterpicked by this Kindred. Not necessarily a one-on-one counter, so to speak, but just the way Aquatic Bear was able to play the map was really strong. And what do you think might be some adjustments that Bioweek might want to make going into game 2?
Don't blind pick Poppy and don't pick Morgana in that situation. I was really not a fan of either of those picks. The Pinky played a decent lane and they did get some 2v2 kills, but I feel like you could have done that with any support based on, you know, the way that the lane was going. So I think if you change those things up in draft to at least give you some winning lanes, you might have a shot. But Cosa Gaming, they are going to be tough to take down here as we load up for game number 2 in just a few moments.
All right, so I think sorry, I'm just kind of a fill-in here, so I forget a little bit, but I think we'll be back in a couple moments for game 2, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, we'll be back in just a few minutes for game number 2.
Awesome.
By my will, this shall be finished.
Let's change the world.
All right, welcome back to the Titan Esports Conqueror League. We have Cosa Gaming Rampage taken on bye week. We're going to jump into the Game 2 draft in just a minute, but before we do, Cosa Gaming Rampage just absolutely dominated in Game 1.
Absolutely dominated, I feel like, is the best way to describe it. It was a one-sided affair for Cosa Gaming, but it was a good one as the teams are now loading into draft. And you asked me the question at the end of last game, what did I want to see out of bye week to, sort of switch it up this game? And I feel like, something that kind of flies under the radar, it makes it hard to switch up your strategy when you can't ban out the champions that worked so well last time around, especially when the enemy team does get that blue side first pick. That means Cosa gets to pick any champion that they want first, and bye week cannot do anything about it. But I did say I didn't want to see blind pick Poppy, and I wanted to see them play around their bot side, I think, a little bit more, because we did see Zerobi was the one shining ray of light. He was very far ahead of Chaser in that 2v2 matchup last time around. There were multiple 2v2 kills that did end up going down. So if maybe Byweek is able to play around him effectively, they might be able to find a win. But as the first few bans have come through, it is once again going to be that Nico and that Yorick taking off first.
I will say of Cosa Gaming Rampage, they really made strong use of the red side in their last draft, kind of finding a lot of counter picks to whatever Byweek wanted to do. So we'll see what they feel comfortable in first picking. You know, Aquatic Bear on that Kindred was the huge strength in game one, but that's not really something that you would want to first pick, especially with all these strong jungle champions available, which we had pointed out in the first draft. And as we see those final manatees being banned out from Byweek, we'll see what Cosa Gaming Rampage wants to start out the draft with.
Yeah, Kindred was definitely a counter pick into the Jarvan. It's a very favorable jungle matchup. And speak of the devil, it's going to be Jarvan again, but this time around, it's going to be for Cosa Gaming Rampage. So Aquatic Bear said, I can do what you can do, but better here, picking that one away as the Lee Sin will be the response coming through for Violet Rain. I'm definitely excited to see this one. I think it's at least a more meta pick coming through, and I would hope a comfort pick, but there is a lot of burden of execution coming through as Lilia is going to be locked in for jungle maybe, or maybe top lane. You were actually just telling me also about how top lane Lilia has been coming into the solo queue and pro meta just a little bit.
Yeah, and so this Lilia and the Lee Sin, it does bring a little bit of flexibility, and, you know, not sure if Cosa Gaming Rampage is familiar with this Lilia top, but does bring quite a bit of AoE, actually a pretty safe lane phase. I have seen the Lilia even pick up the Ghost in the top lane, just kind of to be a menace in these team fights, and then that also leaves Lee Sin as well as a potential double flex, or triple flex rather, can go into the top lane, can go into the mid lane, can go into the jungle, as Ezreal Braum, a safe bot lane locked in from Cosa Gaming Rampage, and Samira, a pretty hard carry ADC, locked in from Byweek.
Yeah, Samira definitely seems like a risky pick into this Ezreal Braum. If you get locked down, you're going to die very fast, but it's also got a pretty good amount of safety in this lane and a lot of playmaking potential if you want it. But I want to go back to this Lilia Lee Sin first rotation coming through from Byweek, because I feel like even though we don't exactly know where either one is going yet in the draft, they're both locked in, and you know that one of these is going jungle and one of them is going solo lane. So you do lose some of that surprise factor, I feel like, that they might have had. I wouldn't be surprised to see if it is going to end up being that Lilia top. You know, it does have those redeeming qualities that you did mention. I feel like it could potentially play both a strong side and a weak side role, depending on what the team needed, due to the utility and carry potential that the champion does have. But that will be a Seraphine lock-in here, coming through for either a Maze or a Pinky. More flex picks, more not being revealed, but definitely a slow-paced champion, which sort of counter-synergizes with your Lee Sin and Samira, I feel like.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, not sure about locking in the Lee Sin and the Lily at the same time. Now, Lee Sin obviously can go to the top lane, but I feel like you don't really have to pick around it. Doesn't necessarily hard counter anything.
It's just a reliable fighter in the top side, right?
Yeah, whereas you can kind of pick around the Lilia, right, and just pick something that you know lanes okay into it. And as we quickly were finishing in that draft, Victor, Camille going to round out a pretty strong front-to-back team fight from Cosa Gaming Rampage, and Seraphine, and then the Nami going to finish it out from Byweek. What do you think of this composition coming out on the red side?
Yeah, I think it's better than last game. I think this composition has a clear win condition, which is you're going to double enchant this Samira and hope Zerobi gets fed like he did last time. I mean, on the Ezreal, he had a good game, but didn't really have the carry potential coming through. So maybe, just maybe, if you're able to survive this early game, get to the mid game, 1-2 items on the Samira with Moonstones completed on the supports, you could be unkillable and just 1v9 the game if you're Zerobi. And I feel like that is a clear win condition, more clear than the last composition. But Lee Sin, Lilia, Lee Sin into the jungle, definitely a high performance champion here for Violet Rain. And, you know, we did highlight not a particularly impressive performance in game number one. So a more difficult champion to bounce back on. And then the Lilia into the Camille matchup top sounds a little scary to me once the Camille gets access to that hookshot wall dive, and in particular, the Hextech ultimatum up against the likes of not only that, but a Jarvan 4 who can easily gank this side if you're not able to dodge out on the flag and drag with that passive movement speed.
Yeah, and just going back to the composition from bye week, Zerobi, he was the big standout in game one, right? In the bot lane, Zerobi and Pinky, they were able to find some advantages for themselves. Probably not going to be able to be, kind of dominant in lane with the Samira and Nami, but on the other hand, that's not really what you want from the Samira, right? You're trying to scale up, you're trying to get a few items before you're competitive, and against the Ezreal and Braum, they should have the easy lane to do so.
Yeah, and Nami does have pretty good synergy with Samira. Actually, the E really buffs up a lot of Samira's damage, as well as the Q being a suspension. So you do get that passive auto attack with Samira on that as well. So there is some decent synergy, as well as the range versus melee matchup in the support position once again should give you push potential in this lane, especially with the lack of wave clear on a champion like Ezreal. It's all single target damage. So it does make for a decent laning phase, but it is very vulnerable. If someone gets tagged by concussive blows, you are running for the hills. And with Jarvan, again, need to highlight it for Aquatic Bear. He was the X factor for Cosa Gaming Rampage in game number 1. He can beat it again with a very high tempo jungler locked in. He is going to be the playmaker for this team to try to set up the team fights that I know they want to find throughout this game to try to just run through bye week once again.
Yeah, and with that, we are going to be loading onto the Rift here for Game 2 of Cosa Gaming Rampage against bye week, and we will get a pause right away, so we'll have a little bit more time to talk as, another thing that I want to touch on for the side of Cosa Gaming Rampage, you mentioned the Hextech Ultimatum being such a powerful tool here with that Cataclysm, but I also want to talk about the synergy with the Victor, that Chaos Storm being able to be dropped down on top of those two huge zone control ultimates is going to provide such a big amount of damage as we go into this mid-game, not to mention the True Shot barrage from the Ezreal, which pretty much hits for free, as the teams do look like they might be stacking up here on the team on the bot side from bye week. We'll see if they try to go for some kind of invade.
Yeah, definitely going to be interesting to keep an eye on this one. Chaser is going to have to be careful on this side, but I do briefly want to go back to the point about the Hextech Ultimatum and the Cataclysm. We talked about it for ganking Armork up here on the top side, but let's not forget that there are two immobile Enchanter supports on this bye week composition. We said if they're able to buff up Zerobi enough, you might just have a team fight win condition, but that's assuming your supports aren't just instantly deleted from the map. So definitely going to be something you're keeping an eye on as well with these two hard engaged champions on the top side triangle of the map. But as the invade does fail, just going to be a little bit of vision traded back across, and the ward actually going to be killed. Good guy Jack Gaming getting that sweeper, going to clear that one out. And actually, vision advantage going the way of Cosa Gaming Rampage, getting a counter ward immediately rotated across there by the Jarvan. So advantage, despite the play being started by a bye week, goes to their opponents, as both junglers once again going to have mirror clear, starting on the bottom side, however.
Yeah, and touching on the summoner spells a little bit here, I do want to highlight Armork, who is going to battle Last of the Coterie right away in this top lane. Armork did take that ignite, so he is looking to get an advantage for himself early and often here. You mentioned the scaling from the Camille. Armork doesn't want to let it get to that point, wants to take an advantage early, and I'll be interested to see if Aquatic Bear wants to, or rather, sorry, if Violet Rain on the Lee Sin wants to go up there early and get this Lilia snowballing.
Yeah, and I am not sold on it, definitely, because, I mean, really nice trade there by Last of the Coterie to start off the lane. I like that bush play, but, I mean, if you're trying to do an all-in Samira comp, you're going to want TP on your top lane or try to join the fights. Concussive Blow's going to land. Just heavy trading back and forth, but, I mean, now Armork is, he's never going to be able to join one of these bottom lane team fights, so teleport advantage on the top side could be extremely impactful for the side of Cosa Gaming. So definitely something to keep our eyes on as we move forward. But Violet Rain, he has farmed 2 camps, and he's now looking bottom already.
Yeah, he is, and we do see Chaser has been chunked quite a bit, and we know that Pinky on this Nami will provide a lot of natural healing, but here's Aquatic Bear. He wants to get it going into this mid lane. Flash right away from Amazed, and he is just going to get caught out. Gravity well dropped from the Victor, but it doesn't even need to proc. So the Norseman picking up first blood for Cosa Gaming Rampage.
Yeah, preemptive flash means nothing when you're playing Seraphine against this Jarvan. He just follows it up with the Flag and Dragon. It's all too easy. It's a first blood going the way of Cosa Gaming, and it's going to be a lot of control. Violet Rain, remember, still only level 2 as Jack gets taken quite low. So, in this smite fight for this red buff, he is at a massive disadvantage on the one-on-one. We also got one top side.
And last of the coterie, he's going to pick up a solo kill for himself, and Violet Rain flashes, trying to get the smite. He cannot, and Aquatic Bear picks up the solo kill in the jungle. So things already looking from bad to worse for bye week.
Yikes, I think is the word for that one. Violet Rain, I mean, you're level 2 and you don't have a red buff. This Jarvan basically just walks up, takes him down, doesn't even get the smite to at least get to level 3 and try to survive. Just gets taken down and is already so far behind in this jungle matchup. This game already going the way that Cosa wants it to as well. You know, this Ignite Lilia, not only do you get solo bullet up there on the top side, but you don't have teleport to get back to the lane and try to reestablish some sort of control. So the gold already going the way of Cosa Gaming Rampage, and it's already looking like the same story as game number 1.
Yeah, and Violet Rain, he did really want to get something going for his bot lane early, but, you know, with the bot lane from Cosa Gaming just sticking so close to the turret, it just was too difficult. And now you'll see these trading patterns in the top lane. I mean, with this passive coming out from the Camille, getting that magic damage shield, it just becomes so difficult for the Lilia once she gets behind. And this is kind of the weakness of picking that Lilia blind that we talked about. It seemed clear from the beginning that, I mean, since they put her in the top lane, it seems clear that Amork probably was going to take this one, right? And, you know, just these blind picks into the top lane, first the Poppy, now the Lilia, it's really just not working out, unfortunately.
Yeah, and Violet Rain, I mean, it's a decent idea to try to look for the level 2 gank, but your bot lane is actually slow pushing in, and again here, they're slow pushing in, so you don't really have the agency that you need to make a gank happen. It means that your top laner gets zoned off so many creeps, but they're going for it anyway.
Bubble is going to land from Pinky. Very nice one there. Zerobi, he's going to flash out, and he does have the heal to be able to keep himself alive, so we do have to give it to bye week. That was a pretty nice kill coming out there from their bot lane, grabbing the kills onto the Braum as well as the Ezreal, and Violet Rain, he wasn't able to make it happen at level 2, but did stick to his guns, did come back, and was able to pull off the dive.
Yeah, really nice play there from the side of bye week. That was a very well executed dive and a massive advantage gain. You're now getting your Samira online and a huge CS lead to boot. So definitely the kind of play that you want to see at the expense, of course, of our Mork, who got zoned off so many creeps up here on the top side due to the freeze that was held and the top side control of this J4. But at least bye week is able to get something back, and although they're not out of the woods, their win condition is coming online. Perhaps a lack of respect there from the side of Cosa Gaming's bot lane as, oh, hang on, top side.
Yeah, there's less of the coterie. He is 2 levels ahead of a Mork on this Lilia, and now for Lilia, out of mana, under her own turret, gonna have to recall again, and again without the teleport, gonna have to walk it back up to lane, but last of the coterie, he's not even going to even let it happen, gonna push in this wave, and if he does get it into the turret, he'll probably be able to look for a dive as Lilia does get her recall off.
I mean, this is just such a horrible situation for our Mork. You have to back there because you know you'll immediately die. Level 6 Camille, she hookshot wall dives you. It's guaranteed to hit. You don't have any passive stacks or flash available. It's Amaze going to get Chaos Stormed.
Looking for a solo kill here from the Norseman in the mid lane. Not going to pick it up by himself, but Aquatic Bear is there to finish it off. Clean dive onto this Seraphine pick, even though she was able to hit the nice encore, but didn't end up making a difference as Pinky often looking for these bubbles in the bottom lane, but not able to land at that time.
Yeah, Amorka's just lower level than his bot lane. He had the back, but it just feels so bad because you know you're going to die, but losing his creeps is almost as bad as dying. But Aquatic Bear, with that pressure, going to actually be forced off of the dragon. They got the kill mid, but they didn't have the information on where Violet Rain was, and the bottom lane, once again here for bye week, is maintaining control. But I am still hesitant to see this dragon be started as Violet Rain does not have access to the dragon range kick, but no, it will just be the reset coming through from Aquatic Bear. It will be Cloud Drake sacked, which I do like the call from Cosa Gaming. They might have been able to fight for that one, but you don't need to. It's a first dragon Cloud. It doesn't give any immediate value really, and now you can reset, fight for them in the mid game, and not risk throwing away your lead.
Yeah, and last of the coterie, even just doing a beautiful job of controlling this wave here, is able to keep it just in front of his turret so it doesn't crash out, and our Mork just being even further denied. And at this point, it does look pretty damn difficult for bye week to make anything happen in this early game. Probably just going to be looking for maybe some kind of mid-game skirmish, team fight situation to try to get themselves going.
Yeah, but Violet Rain making another appearance on the bottom side, going to hit the Sonic Wave and the Resonating Strike. But not too much more going to come of it. No kick available means that you're not really able to punt that Braum right back into the team, as well as Flash and Zoss being available meant that the threat was low. And that means Newton's Law League of Legends, Herald going to be taken on the top side, as well as potentially all of Violet Rain's camps. Remember how we talked about level 6 by 8 minutes? Well, we've missed it again. Still level 5, and it's 8.5 minutes in, so Violet Rain definitely having a tough time on this Lee Sin, and it's all in favor of Aquatic Bear.
Yeah, an Aquatic Bear almost kind of BMing here in this draft. You already said it, but, you know, everything you can do, I can do better. He picks this Jarvan up first for himself, able to pick up that level 2 gank, and it's been all gravy from there so far. Already 2-0-1 on this J4 pick, and we'll see where he decides to drop that first Cataclysm. Is he is currently sitting in the jungle of this Lee Sin. He's going to wrap around this red buff potentially and try to make something happen onto Violet Rain. 2 levels up.
Yeah, nice W right there from Zerobi, but they know the respawn timer of the red buff. He gets it again. Oh, no.
Oh, he's going to be able to steal it out. Violet Rain, he's going low.
Flash.
Cataclysm is going to be flashed out by Violet Rain. Nice for him, but look at that Q over the wall. That was a blind Q from the Jarvan, picking up the kill, and meanwhile, we didn't even get to see it, but Last of the Coterie does pick up the solo kill onto our Mork in the top lane. Ignite also going to be used from the Lilia, but it is not enough to take down this Camille, who has over double the CS.
So Allison, I don't know if you'd agree with me, but I think it is safe to say that Lilia top blind is not the move into Camille.
No, I talked about how I've definitely seen it in other leagues, and not a blind pick though. And again, you know, like we touched on it in the draft, it's a nice, you know, it's a nice thing to be able to throw the other team off when you have only picked the Lilia early, because there's kind of the assumption that it goes to the jungle. But when you also pick up something like the Lee Sin, which is a stronger jungle pick, you have to assume right away probably that Lee Sin is going to go into the jungle. And also Lilia, definitely a niche pick, so probably one of the 2 players on any given team are going to be the Lilia specialist, right? And that makes it a lot more kind of easy to predict, I guess, if you're Cosa Gaming Rampage.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, but for anyone interested in jungle matchups, Jarvan is a horrible matchup for Lilia, so even based on that, you can kind of assume that they don't want to pick the Lilia into the Jarvan, because Jarvan just has way more early agencies. The flashback.
Oh, and yeah, Jack Gaming with just a beautiful flash, forcing the Lee Sin to follow him into the turret.
Oh, Zerobi's in.
Chaser, he's going to have a nice flash away as the Samira is going to go in, but she's all alone. It's going to be a double kill for the Norseman as Last of the Coterie, he wants to get in on it as well. Gravity Well going to land onto a maze. It's just a matter of time before that Seraphine drops, and that's a 3-for-0 off of a very, very over-aggressive play from Bye-Week.
Yeah, I mean, that was just really nice League of Legends there from Cosa Gaming Rampage. They had the teleport advantage. Camille TP had just come up. They reset their jungler. They push in the wave. They reset their top laner, walk their mid laner down towards the bottom side. They know they want to set up a play on the bottom side to try to shut down the Samira. And Bye-Week, they just hand it to him on a silver platter anyway. The TP comes through, the flank comes through, and it's 4 kills. It's going to be a mid turret as well. And it is once again all Cosa Gaming. But you know what? Our Mork is probably gonna die. Oh, he's just gone.
Hills, and wow, look at the damage that Camille does. I mean, scaling is, you know, we talked about scaling from the Camille. She's already scaled. She already has the Trinity Force completed. She's 4-0-1, and she is just soloing out our Mork, and our Mork is not going to be able to lane against her pretty much for the rest of this game. Probably not
like that for a while.
Yeah, probably not going to be able to even be safe under this turret anymore. And Zerobi and Pinky, you know, they have had priority in this lane, but Chaser and Jack Gaming have just done a great job of keeping themselves just safe enough in this bot lane. And as Aquatic Bear, he's here, is going to land the flag and drag onto Pinky, who will use her tidal wave to get a knockup, but ultimately going to go down. Jack Gaming, he's behind, just taking up the turret for, you know, just for fun. And with this Infernal Drake up, looks like, again, Cosa Gaming wants to take away yet another win condition.
Yeah, Last of the Coteries playing this Camille like Huni played Camille earlier in the series today. Game number 2. Pretty big Camille performance came in from the TSM top, and being matched here in Titan Esports. So well played to him. And speaking of which, Elsa, who are you rooting for in the big series? I mean, this has to be, that series is probably one of the biggest in the NA LCS history, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I definitely have to have TSM. They're my team, as we do see some fighting going down to the bot lane, but nothing going to happen there. And
You're fighting
yeah,
around the TSM blue buff,
Yeah, right, exactly. I'm a big TSM fan. I was happy to see Huni pulling out that Camille. Seemed like a Huni pick that we didn't really pick up all year long, so nice to see him finally bringing it out. I suppose when TSM kind of, at their last... or rather, facing elimination. So that's when you want to pull out the all the stops. I also love seeing the Pantheon from Sword Art as well. I know that came out in game 1 to 2, so that one was fun.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a Cloud9 and a C9 fan. Sorry, a C9 and a Fnatic fan. So I've always liked Huni. I like seeing him on those carry tops, but we might not get along here on the cast anymore, Elsa. I got my eye on you, but anyway, back to this game. It's a big lead for Cosa. They're looking even better than they did in game number 1, which I didn't think was possible. Just more disjointed and overforced plays coming through from Bioweek, and there's not really much they can do from this point on. It's the third spawn of the red buff. Do you think Violet Rain gets his red buff this time around?
I don't know. It looks like he's instead going to try to help out our Mork, who's already going to go down. And last of the Coterie, he's still got a lot left in the tank. I think maybe he'll be able to kill this Lee Sin under turret as Dorobi. He's also going to be in trouble. He's going to get grabbed by the Cataclysm, and there is that synergy between the Chaos Storm and the Cataclysm that we talked about last of the Coterie. He's waiting in the wings, going to jump under the turret. He's going to grab this kill, taking up the turret. He'll flash out just to make sure he's alive. And that is a 1v2 coming out from last of the Coterie on this Camille. And here's Pinky. He can't even walk up to his turret.
Yeah. I feel like that was mental warfare from Last of the Coterie. Like, he definitely didn't need to dive the tier 2, but it's about sending a message that he can and will 2v1 you if you ever come top lane again. And that is, I think, message received there for Violet Rain as he does get taken down. And guess what? He's not going to get his third red buff. That is 0 for 3 on red buff for the day for Violet Rain. It's been a rough one for the substitute jungler, but sometimes that is just how the cookie crumbles here in League of Legends, as it is an 11,000 gold lead at 15 minutes.
Yeah, and ultimately, I did think of how today pretty much it's been a conspiracy to take games away from Titan Esports League with the matchups that Riot was able to put out. They had Gen G versus SKT, which is the biggest Korean, kind of nemesis matchup. They had Fnatic versus G2, and now they had TSM versus C9. So really just stacking the deck against us.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's hard to compete with storied rivalries, I suppose. But hey, I mean, to those of you that are here, we do appreciate you tuning in to Titan Esports, watching some good old-fashioned Conqueror League action. Might not be the most exciting affair, but it's definitely a fun one nonetheless, as Herald looks like it's on the docket here. Cosa Gaming, they've basically got full control of the map, and I think it's not going to change anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I think it's probably pretty exciting if you're Cosa Gaming. I mean,
it's true. It is their first win of the season.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I would like to talk about that a little bit. Like you said, this is a team that came into the league a couple weeks late, maybe kind of slow to start, as we do see a fight being started up here by Last of the Coterie, is able to pick up the Lilia Norseman, going to finish it off. Aquatic Bear also grabbing one onto Violet Rain. But, now grabbing this win, presumably if they're able to finish it off against Bioweek, and Last of the Coterie, he's just not even stopping. Has that red buff available, able to dodge out on some of the CC from the Seraphine with his ultimate. Aquatic Bear dropping the Cataclysm as well. And, maybe this is what Cosa Gaming needs to kind of establish themselves as a team, gain some confidence, get a first win coming in here. They still have a couple of their makeup matches to finish up, so, they are 0-2 in terms of their match score right now, but they have the potential to be a lot higher than that if they do win those makeup matches.
Yeah, and it's worth noting, too, that in this win, Cosa has looked good. They have not looked like a bad team at all. So definitely a good confidence booster for them, as they just want to end the game.
Yeah, they do have this Rift Herald. Will we be able to see a Rift Herald dance here? That's what I'm rooting for at this point. If it's able to go on to the Nexus, it looks like it did die.
Save Shelly!
Oh, so,
she's still alive.
No, she is alive. I forgot that it does not go, charge onto the Nexus. Yeah! Watch that Rift Herald dance! We got it. And that's going to be Cosa Gaming. They're going to finish off bye week in an easy 2-0 for them. And it did look very clean, we have to say, start to finish from Cosa Gaming. You know, in some of these games where you get a big lead early on, it can be easy enough to maybe play a little bit fast and loose. As, you know, we did see Last of the Coterie going for some crazy dives, but it was measured, right? Like, they only gave up 2 kills for this entire game, and it was from that weak side bot lane. So, you know, not only playing very strong, but just not going beyond how far they can kind of reach from Cosa Gaming Rampage.
Yeah, I believe it was 2 kills, 1 turret, and 1 dragon were what bye week picked up to prevent the perfect game coming through from Cosa Gaming Rampage. But I mean, yeah, just a really nice play from them. It was a party in the bye week base with the Dancing Shelly right there, and a very nice game coming through from Cosa Gaming, picking up their first win here in Titan Esports, and I'm sure they will be back and ready to load onto the Rift for next week as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I just don't have too much to say about this. For bye week, I really think that they might want to look at just cleaning up their draft, maybe doing a few more mock drafts or something, kind of deciding some more strategies. You know, they came out with so many different champions in these 2 drafts. I don't think that they repeated any champions. So maybe just zeroing in on like kind of a champion pool that they feel a little bit more comfortable from this team rather. Might allow them a little bit more success in later games.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely, you know, always want to take improvement from losses and try to find a way to continue getting better throughout the season. Because at the end of the day, in amateur, that's what it's all about. And definitely, you know, for bye week, there is only, you know, the sky's the limit. They can only go up from here. And Cosa Gaming, they will be facing off against Meme City next week, who is sitting at 3rd place in the standings. They are 3-1. So that is going to be a difficult but telling matchup, I feel like, for the true strengths of this team. But definitely should be exciting. The stream matchup for next week, of course, will be between Crosspoint Origin and Oasis Lotus. So be sure to tune in on Sunday, August 29th for that matchup as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Titan Esports League, for having me here. I'm Elsa the Queen. I had a good time here with Hawk on the cast. And from all of us here at Titan Esports League, we hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you next time for the Conqueror League.